Hi, I'm Chelsea Husum, your host of the Lip Service and Lashes podcast. I'm an entrepreneur, author, speaker, and mom of two. And I'm so tired of women not feeling like they can show up as fully expressed versions of themselves. So here, we're all about that unapologetically, because honestly, we don't have time not to. Literally, because we're busy as F moms and entrepreneurs, but also figuratively, because we don't know how much time we have on this planet, and we want to make an impact now. But if we're doing this, we're making it real vibes only. So let's get inspired, laugh our asses off, quite possibly cry, and feel like you're sitting on the couch with your bestie and a glass of wine. I'm so happy you're here. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Lip Service and Lashes podcast. I'm your host, Chelsea Husum. You guys, today I have my friend Taylor Reinke. Taylor is a strategy consultant working at the intersection of technology and supply chain, with experience ranging from an eco-friendly surfboard startup in South Africa to a Fortune 500 company and a faith-based nonprofit. After spending 6 years in robotics, she earned a full-ride scholarship to study mechanical engineering at Texas A&M. Driven by her faith and people-first mindset, Taylor is passionate about making others feel valued, respected, and included everywhere she goes. Taylor, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be on this.
Yes, thank you so much. And for everyone listening, I was just telling Taylor, if my husband sometimes would just go to work, and I told him to be quiet, and then he starts the mower. Why? So if you all hear a very faint hum in the microphone, that's my husband outside mowing because he isn't going to work like a normal person. Just go.
The most convenient time to be productive.
I know. I'm like, oh, babe. Oh, God. All right. So I have so many ways to go, but you've worked everywhere from South Africa startups to Fortune 500 companies to nonprofits. I want to know, what version of yourself did you like the most? Or what was of those all, what was your favorite and why?
Oh, that's a really good question. I really enjoyed working at this small startup company in South Africa, just because it was so scrappy and hands-on, and we were really involved in all areas of the business. So it's just very fascinating to wear so many different hats. And I feel like that really went hand in hand with a lot of who I am. And I just love being involved in a lot of different areas and just getting to see every part of experiences. So yeah. I really enjoyed that. That was my favorite.
Well, and I feel like too, in a startup, you're like, so much comes up that you had no clue you're like, I could never have thought this was coming, or, oh, we got to deal with this today. Right. It's just you never know what's actually going to be thrown at you that day.
No, exactly. You just have to be ready for anything and just kind of fly by the seat of your pants. So
you roll with it. I love it. All right, let's see. I want to see. So you came from a family that did not climb the corporate ladder. Did that ever make you feel behind, or you were figuring it all out alone? Or how did that, how did you kind of pick a different path for yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So my parents are awesome, and I have really learned so much from them, and they're great role models in my life, and they're very family oriented and have just always prioritized and focused on that. And my mom worked part-time as we were really young. She worked about 10 hours a week, which was really nice that they were so flexible to even provide that option for her.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And she worked part-time throughout my growing up years. And my dad worked at it was a research program through Colorado State, and did work with computer programming there. But neither of them were like you said, in traditional climbing the corporate ladder positions. And so I feel like in college, I had the chance to have friends whose parents maybe were on those tracks. And I feel like I had the chance to see different career paths in a lot of different areas. I mean, climbing the corporate ladder is obviously not the only career path that's an option, but I think stepping into that myself, in a way, it was something that was kind of new to me, and it was interesting to step into that. And then also when my mom has recently gone back and gotten a full-time job for like the first time basically since out of college. It's been interesting to have tables turned and kind of be helping her with updating her resume or giving her tips. So kind of roles reversed there, but that's been fun too.
I love that. Well, and it's like probably our parents and grandparents, you know, many of them would stay in a traditional job for 30 years and they had one job their whole life. That's what they did. And then they retired. Right. And I don't really, that's rare now. I mean, most people, have numerous jobs throughout their lives. Right. But it is, I agree. Like it's not to say like, definitely the corporate world is not the only way, nor is it the quote unquote right way, right? You have to ultimately like figure out what works for you. So tell us today in your career, what are you specifically doing?
Yeah. So I'm working as a strategy analyst in consulting. I'm specifically focused on supply chain. So my current project is basically helping make end-to-end supply chain more efficient. Okay. And we're specifically looking at making predictions for when machinery will fail and getting ahead of that and alerting technicians for all of that goes into that. And so a lot of it is change management, honestly. Okay. Is, like you said, kind of that type of worker who has been in a role for 30 years and trying to implement technology changes can be really hard because understandably so. They've done things one way for 30 years. And a lot of the times when new technology is implemented, it takes so much effort in the front end, especially on the individual who's implementing it. So for sure, it takes time before technology actually makes things efficient. And so that's a lot of what I'm working with at this point in time. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. I mean, and people, it's hard when we've done something that's worked one way for so long. And then all of a sudden we're told to change. It is hard. It's like frustrating. And there's some people that are like, yep, let's just jump right in. Okay. And then there's other people that are like so set in their ways that it's, maybe they're just not as flexible. So that's cool. So you kind of like, you foresee it before it happens. So you have more time to plan for that and like plan for that transition.
Yeah. That's the goal, is to predict when it would break down, 7 days in advance so that I have time to go plan for fixing machinery before it breaks. So
yeah. And then if it breaks, then you're standing around costing time, money, like losing money at that point. So very interesting. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you sent me all your information, you had mentioned you were hitchhiking in Thailand. I need to hear that story because what is going on?
Yeah. So one of my good friends and I, we backpacked in Thailand for our senior trip. Okay. In between our fall and spring semester of our senior year. And we spent about 20 days just backpacking around Thailand, which was so much fun. And it's such a beautiful country, great food. And one of the days we were in Chiang Mai and we were hiking, and we hiked up pretty far. Honestly, it was pretty remote most of the time. We were kind of the only ones out there, and it was starting to get dark, and we were looking up ways to get down the mountain because we didn't really want to have to run down this mountain. Yeah, so we saw that there was a campsite pretty close by. So that's what we were shooting to get to. And we came upon this campsite. Luckily we had some cash and they were selling soup at the mountain. So we had some tom yum soup to revitalize us. And then there were a bunch of people at an outlook watching the sunset. And we were originally going to try to just call, an Uber or a Lyft down the mountain, but it was pretty remote. So there wasn't any pickups happening. And there were a couple options. So I just started talking to everyone on the mountain and was just trying to find someone who was going down and see if we could get a ride down. There were there was a couple and they spoke Russian. So we were trying to use Google Translate. And then I found a lady who was from the UK and she was married to a Thai man. So he was able to help us ask around.
Oh, okay.
And he found us just a family there that has had a truck. And they told us, we can take you down the mountain, but we're leaving right now and you're gonna have to sit in the bed of the truck.
Yeah, so, just get in the back. You're like, whatever at that point.
So we were like, we'll take it. We'd rather that than having to walk down this mountain. So
yeah,
we just held on, prayed, and we made it down the mountain. And
that's so funny.
He was so kind. He wouldn't accept any payment. He was just out of the kindness of his heart. So
that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Well, and when we were just really quickly chatting, like before we hit record, I was like, if depending on when you're listening to this, it's almost Memorial Day weekend. And it's like, why is the week going so slow? Yeah. Because I want to go have a holiday weekend and it's my birthday and I just want to go beyond that. Right. So it's like this week is dragging by like, oh my God. And we were just chatting and I was like, oh, I'm going to Nebraska and whatever. And then, so tell us what you're doing. Cause I was like, this is awesome.
It's funny because I haven't been on an adventure like this in a while. So it's
good. It's good timing though.
It's good timing. But I'm going tent camping in Norway with a group of friends.
I love that.
It's free to tent camp in a bunch of spots in Norway. Cool. So we're going to the Western Fjords and just going to find some beautiful spots in nature to enjoy. And I'm hoping to just like let my phone die and just be unplugged and just enjoy time outdoors. So that'll be really nice. I love that.
Have you been to Norway before?
No, I've never been. I'm really excited. It looks stunning.
So it sounds like, well, Thailand too. I have a lot of friends that have been in Thailand. I had 2 guy friends that were in the Peace Corps there and they loved it. They like would not stop talking. I mean, they just adored it. Everyone I've ever talked to. So yeah, same when I heard you say that, it was just fantastic. Great people, beautiful, same. So it sounds like you're very well traveled. What are some of maybe your top like 2 favorite spots you've ever gone to and why?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You're like, I got to sift through like 100 places right now.
No, it's actually really interesting because as a family growing up, we did a lot of like national parks trips and a lot of like historical spots in the US, but we had never left the country as family. And it's always on my bucket list. I always wanted to leave the country and just explore the world. I had my little magic treehouse passport, as a kid, and I would put my stamps in that for the books I would read.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to see the world for myself. And so that summer that I spent in South Africa in Cape Town was the first time I'd ever left the country. I had just applied for a bunch of international internships and got one and just packed my bags and left for 3 months. So I don't think I really processed or thought it through until I was on the plane. Mm-hmm. But that was definitely one of my favorite experiences. I just feel like the history and culture of South Africa just runs so deep, and getting to see kind of the effects of apartheid that's honestly still it's pretty segregated and like still. And I had the chance to learn a little bit of Xhosa, which is like the clicking language. I had a mentor there and she was teaching me. I was really bad, but it was fun to try to learn. And so I had the chance to go to the township she lived in to help out with one of her reading clubs. And so I feel like getting to actually see life through the lens of someone who lived there was just really impactful. And I also just remember like what a humbling experience it was when I went to this township. And I just remember being so aware of my race. And it was like the first time I'd ever felt that in a room.
Yeah. And
I was just struck by the fact that I was, 21 years old, and it was like the first time I was feeling this. Just knowing that is not a maybe unique experience for other people.
Yeah.
So I think that whole summer I learned and grew so much. So I feel like Cape Town's one of my favorite locations just because of that, but also stunning the Table Mountain hikes where you have panoramic views of the Cape was just, so
gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
So I guess I only really talked about one spot, but I guess I would say Cape Town.
Okay. So I have two questions for you. First off, so when you guys went around the US, did you go to South Dakota to the Mount Rushmore?
Yes, we went to Mount Rushmore.
Okay. I'm from South Dakota. So like right where we go, I'm from the boring eastern side. So there's like cows and cornfields, but the Black Hills is beautiful. So I was like, oh, I bet you went there. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I take my kids back there every year. And when you're talking about, being in Africa, I feel similar. I was in South America and Ecuador for a few different times. And I remember like kids like looking at me screaming and running away because they never had seen someone with blonde hair or a little bit lighter skin, or like everyone on the bus was staring at me and I'm the only blonde on there. And it just, you know what I mean? It is like a different thing that's maybe we grew up not like in a sheltered way, but when you're traveling, you're looking at other perspectives and actually like breaking yourself open and seeing the beauty and how the world really is. Right. Mm-hmm. So I totally get that. So did you ever, in any of your travels, have you ever had any kind of culture shock or like reverse culture shock? So I'll give you a really quick example. So like when I took students from my high school to Ecuador for like a 10-day service trip, and we were digging this water filtration system for this community. They were drinking like really contaminated water from the river. So all the kids had the bellies that were, distended out and were sick. They had parasites but they were so sweet. And I remember like going to meet this family that they just had this little like open air boarded up house. Right. And the mom kept apologizing to me. And I was like, no, please do not apologize. Like, you're welcoming us to your home, like showing us all this amazing things. Like, please, don't. But I remember coming home and like that first day, literally walking up to brush my teeth, and I turned on a faucet, and I was just like, God, I felt kind of like a jerk, even though none of us pick where we're born into and how we were raised. Right. Like, but it was a really weird mental thing I had to work through, mm-hmm. And I still think of them often. And how grateful I am for what I have. So do you have any things like that you've experienced or kind of mentally worked through?
Yeah, I feel like a couple memories come to mind. Honestly, it sounds similar to like your experience in Ecuador, where mm-hmm. I went with a group and to Liberia, Costa Rica, where we were distributing water filters in kind of a similar way in some of the more rural parts mm-hmm. that didn't have as easy access to clean drinking water. Mm-hmm. And I do remember, like, I think the last day of the trip, like, we all went to the beach, and it just felt so, like, wrong. But also, just I think the hospitality and just, like, love and community that they had amongst their neighbors was really beautiful to see. Mm-hmm. Like, we had helped install a water filter for one lady, and she had, immediately gone to all of her neighbors and were like, come look, we're going to use this,
Yeah.
So I feel like there was like a lot to learn there for sure. And I think similarly there in the English club that I got to help out with in South Africa, it was so much fun. There were like 35 kids, and we would just read together, and they had like a pretty old soccer ball probably that they just, loved. Uh-huh. And I think my first instinct was, I just want to like get them new things. But I actually talked with my mentor, Coley, and she was kind of, humbled me in a way of like, that's not like the role that's needed here. Like, they're happy like with what they have, and like basically don't be prideful to think like you could come like provide something for them that they don't have. Like they have what they need, and they're like joyful with it. So
yeah, I love that. Like the little kids in that community wanted to just play soccer with all my high school kids, and and they're like, the problems we think we have in Colorado aren't problems. And I'm like, thank you. Oh my God. But it is, these people are so kind and joyful and happy. And they're not like looking at like the things they're quote, maybe lacking compared to somewhere else in the world. They're literally just grateful, and it's all about family. It's all about community. And yeah, we all, I think, have a lot to learn from people like that, right? They show us what's important. It's not all the crap that we have or need or think we need, right? And I would come home and my husband would be like, the Wi-Fi is not working. And I'm like, first world problems. I don't care. Like, get over it. Like, go do something else. You know what I mean? It's like, I love when I hear other people have had that perspective shift, because it's so freaking powerful.
Yeah, it really is. And also, that's not to say like humanitarian efforts are not important. We need clean drinking water everywhere,
they are.
you know, but like, just, I think in perspectives and priorities in life. And I think we get it really shifted. And when
not to assume that these people are unhappy in life, right? Because they don't have all the material things we do. Like, yes, absolutely. Everyone needs access to, food, clean water, all, the basics. Absolutely. But yes, what I think sometimes people think, oh, they're just miserable, but no, they're happy and content. Right. And give gratitude. They're grateful for the small things. Right.
Yeah. We think we can fill our lives with a bunch of things when really, like, you can live a full life without a lot of things.
Exactly. You could have all the things and your life is so empty, right? Yeah. Love that. Yeah. That is a very good point. All right. Let's see. What is one thing you think people waste too much energy caring about in life?
Oh, I definitely think what people think about them. And that's easy for me to say as a people pleaser.
I think a lot of women are.
We had to take this test in our business program to see, it gave you a score of like 0 to 100 of basically, it was basically like how much you care about what people think, or like how much you're motivated by like image. And I got like a 96, which I was floored by.
You're like, whoopsie.
That's so true, but yeah. But I do think people aren't their truest and fullest selves. And that's such a loss, because I mean, at least for me, I feel like a lot of that belief is stems from my faith, and that I believe we're all created for a very specific purpose and very intentionally. And I think that when we live out the way that we're created, I think that's the most fulfilling thing we can do. And so I think when people compromise who they are based on what they think other people, or how they think other people want them to be, I think that's such a loss, because we need all these individuals to be their unique self. I think to just get a more complete, team and world. And I think that's what people waste time on.
I totally agree. It's like, I tell people this, and I tell my kids this, that, God created you. There has never been anyone like you ever in existence, like you, and there never will be anyone like you ever again. And it's like, it's like the even the likelihood of you being born is like the stats are insane. You're like, wait, what? So the fact that we were actually born and then show up. Yeah, right. I totally agree with what you said. There's so many, like, society, especially as women, I think, says, oh, be perfect, do things this way, blah, blah, blah. Right. And there's so much power and beauty in showing up beautifully imperfect. And as you are, like you said, bringing your gifts forward that no one else has ever had or ever will have. Right.
Yeah, totally.
Yes. I love that. I'm like, I could preach on that all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to think of it, for me at least, is like, it's a form of worship for me to God, to be who I was created to be. And I think you can, obviously, we're always improving and growing, and
for sure,
not to say that you should make excuses, but definitely think that, everyone is so unique, and we need teams who have unique people too. We need unique and diverse opinions so that we can, just even problem solving, like in an efficiency standpoint too, but just, I think also in the creativity standpoint.
Yeah. My 9-year-old's dyslexic, and I've been now like paying more attention to neurodivergent learners and things like that. And how they just see, and different people see things differently. And that is what the world needs. Like we don't, and I don't know, I always kind of struggle with modern education too, or not modern education, but do worksheets, and everyone only has one answer. And that's the correct thing. Like you just said, the whole workplace is not that. It's like, who can come up and innovate and take a risk and try something new. Maybe you're going to fail, but maybe you're going to just like develop the newest like thing that will change the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we need. So how do you, when you're at work or in your teams, like, do you have a lot of that? Or do you have like, are you encouraged to kind of innovate and take risks? And like, is your team like psychologically safe where you're like, let's just try different stuff? Like, how do you experience that with people you're working with?
Yeah, I would say the team I'm on right now is a really great example of psychologically like safe space. And I think at first I maybe put myself in a box because I was worried and just wanted to do things like as they've been done and just do things well. And as my team got to know me and like my strengths and weaknesses, and I do tend to be an out of the box thinker and I really like to come up with new ideas. So they've definitely like encouraged me in that area and, given me ways that I can, if they have this problem that hasn't been solved and maybe they need a new set of eyes on it, that they'll give it to me. So I feel like
that.
Like communicating early what you enjoy doing just helps people to like put you in those spots and be able to perform and do things that align with your passions and skill sets too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And like, I think back to like my first job out of college, and when you're starting out, when we're younger, we are kind of just figuring out the workplace, right? I mean, that's a whole different ballgame in itself. So and it's not like we just jump right in or like, I'm just going to, cause a stir and take a bunch of risks. At first you're like, I just got to figure this out safely and figure out what I'm doing. And then I think as you grow in maybe that role or as a person in general, as you get older and you have more life lessons, right? Then I think people are like, oh, okay, now I feel safer and I know who I am more, or, to actually show up who you really are versus just trying to figure it out and dip your toe and be like, what is this adult life?
It's hard to innovate when you don't know the groundwork. Like,
exactly.
You really have to be an expert before you can start coming up with new ideas.
You're like, this is my first job. What is happening? I don't even know. Yeah. That's a whole
So I actually haven't been around, but can we change all of this, please?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about. I have zero experience, but let's just change everything.
I have this idea, but I don't know if there's any logistical way.
And they're all like, no, that's the dumbest thing we've ever heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. So I always love to end with, how can our listeners find out more about you and support you?
Well, that's great. You can find me on LinkedIn, Taylor Reinke. And in terms of support, I feel like, actually, I don't know.
Well, we can all go follow her and we'll just cheer you on and we'll watch all your Norway camping and we'll live vicariously through you with all your trips. Cause they just sound amazing.
I'll make a LinkedIn Norway post.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. We'll be like, and we're sitting here doing nothing, but have fun.
Yeah. Well, I feel like one thing the listeners can do, this is not necessarily to support me, but I think just take like 15 to 30 minutes to sit down and I think journal or just spend some time like reflecting on who you are and your strengths and like the ways that you've been created uniquely. Like, I think taking time to do that is so valuable. I like to journal every morning, but I think even if you don't do that, just spending 15 to 30 minutes, like reflecting on, or even if you sit down and you have a blank page and you can't think of anything, I think asking friends or family, like what they see in you can also be such a good step to just kind of understand how your strengths play out. And I think just taking time. So that's what I would say.
I love that. Remind yourself, step into your power. To step into again, why you are special, because every one of us is special and everyone belongs here. Right. So I love that. Yes. What a good, go out. I love that. That's a challenge for all of you listening. Well, thank you so much, Taylor. So good to see you. And I appreciate you coming on and just sharing all your wisdom. So thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yes.
Thanks, Betsy.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you again for listening. And always remember, no BS, just real vibes. We'll see you next time. If you loved the episode, share it on Instagram and tag me so I can say thank you and meet you. Or share it with a girlfriend who you know would love this too. Always remember, no BS, just real vibes. See you next time on Lip Service and Lashes.